Hey everybody, David here, and today I want to do my list for my top 10 favorite MCU villains. I went back to check. The last time I did this list was back in 2016 when Captain America Civil War was coming out. At the time, I wondered to myself, will Zemo make the top 10? I didn't know at the time. I do now if he made my top 10 list after all these years. It's 2016. I think that's 5 years right now. So let's get right into it. Which MCU villains? Because I think by this point we've seen a couple of really good ones, especially I would say in the late 2000s as we drew closer to Infinity War. I think we've seen some really good ones that a lot of people at the time in the early days of the MCU, a lot of people thought some of the villains were really weak. And sometime around 2017, 2016 maybe, that's when people were saying, hey, these villains are actually getting a little bit more interesting now, with better backstories and such. Let's see which villains made my list, starting with number 10. I have the original villain that started the MCU, Obadiah Stane, aka Ironmonger, played by Jeff Bridges. I think he is an underrated villain. He is the one that set the template for every villain to come afterwards. That doesn't necessarily mean he's the best, but you could see that Jeff Bridges is having the time of his life on set. And it was great seeing him play the villain. He's always this lovable guy. Even in real life, you see him in interviews and all that. So it was fun seeing a twist on him playing the villain. Moving on to number 9, I have Emil Blonsky, a.k.a. The Abomination, played by Tim Roth in The Incredible Hulk. I think The Incredible Hulk is an underrated movie, and I think it has two of the best villains in there, The Abomination, as well as General Thunderbolt Ross. Now, Ross almost made my list, I'm going to say now, but I was conflicted because even though I really love William Hurt as that character, Thunderbolt Ross seems more like an asshole than a real villain, so I decided to take him out, but Abomination is definitely up there. He is threatening, and I can't wait to see him return. Tim Roth is returning for the She-Hulk series, and seeing how that dynamic will play. Tim Roth, how if he'll have any scenes, how he'll play off Mark Ruffalo's Hulk, because Mark Ruffalo is a different character than Edward Norton's Hulk. So it will be interesting to see if they'll change Tim Roth's Abomination character, or if he'll just be as threatening as he is, because Tim Roth can be a really dramatic actor. If you've seen him in the movie Rob Roy, let's just say justice is prevailed by the end of that movie. Tim Roth can make you hate him when he really wants to show you his acting chops. Moving on to number 8, I have Alexander Pierce, played by Robert Redford, legendary actor. I think Alexander Pierce is another villain that doesn't get mentioned enough because he's not the typical villain, and sometimes the non-typical villains can be some of the interesting ones. He was the head of Hydra. You thought he was this good guy, especially the way him and Nick Fury talked to each other in the beginning. And then when you realize the betrayal that he's actually the new head of Hydra, and seeing, when he shoots his maid just because she finds out the truth that he was with the Winter Soldier, you realize this guy is ruthless and he will cut throats if he has to. Robert Redford is such a legendary actor. It was great seeing him in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and I think he's one of those actors that have, like, actors like Christian Bale and Kate Blanchett and Carl Urban and actors like that coming in, and Angelina Jolie, and saying, hey, you know what, if he's doing it, why can't I too? I mean, this is an actor that we want to be like one day, have that stature as an actor. So and you feel his presence in Captain America: The Winter Soldier. And it was really nice seeing him for that brief cameo in Endgame too. So, moving on to number 7, I have Justin Hammer, played by Sam Rockwell. What a joy this actor was, and it's sad that we haven't seen him since Iron Man 2. Well, unless you count the short film All Hail the King, which was that short film about the Trevor Slattery, who was the fake Mandarin, and it was revealed that the real Mandarin is actually out there too. If you ever seen that short film, stick around to the end credits, because Sam Rockwell did return for a little cameo at the end of that short film. That was back in 2014. So he kind of returned, but I would love to see him return as a full-out villain again. Maybe in what is it, Armor Wars with Don Cheadle? It's possible. I think out of all the Disney Plus shows, Sam Rockwell showing up as Justin Hammer in Armor Wars is a very big possibility. Moving on to number 6, I have Mysterio, Quentin Beck, played by Jake Gyllenhaal. Mysterio, one of my all-time favorite, not just MCU villains, one of my favorite Spider-Man villains as well. He would definitely be up in the top 2, 3, maybe, when talking about favorite Spider-Man movie villains. I think Jake Gyllenhaal knocked it out of the park. And I really love the way they played with Mysterio by giving him the motion capture suit. If you know how movies are made, sometimes, like Mark Ruffalo, has to wear a gray suit with markers all over him. And the fact that that was his suit was very creative and very fun. Plus, he's a special effects heavy villain, and they really used that in this movie in a fun and creative way. I really loved it. So, moving on to number 5, I have a Disney Plus villain, Agatha Harkness. That's right, Agatha Harkness right now is the only Disney Plus villain to make my list. I think she was so much fun, played by Kathryn Hahn. I didn't know Kathryn Hahn before that, although I had seen things with her. I just wasn't paying attention to her like I should have. Yeah, like she was the voice of the female Doc Ock in Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, and she was in some other things. I saw her recently in some episodes of Parks and Rec, and there was another show I saw her show up to. But in WandaVision, she was so much fun as that villain that you didn't know where her allegiance lied, and going back and forth with her, like, I don't trust her, but I want to, but there's something about her that's like messing me up. And then when she turns and she gets her own theme song, it was like so much fun. And when she goes full bad, it's like, is she really full bad though? There's still some questions lingering in the air. She could always return one day and we could find out more about her past and who she is and learn a lot more about her. After all, she is alive. Wanda left her alone in that town just under some spells so she doesn't escape. So moving on to number 4, I have Eric Killmonger from Black Panther, played by Michael B. Jordan. Michael B. Jordan is badass, and to see him play this role opposite the late Chadwick Boseman was great, seeing these two go at it. And you really felt for his character when you learned that he was abandoned when he was a kid, left in the city to fend for himself. And you understand his reasons for wanting revenge, not only on the world, but like on his own people as well. So, yeah, they did a fantastic job with Eric Killmonger at number 4. Moving on to number 3, I have Baron Zemo. Yes, that's right, Baron Zemo actually made my top 10. So it looks like, to answer my question in 2016, yes, Zemo was a worthy villain. And I'll say this, I think Falcon and the Winter Soldier elevated him even more because of how much more they were able to play with him and develop him as a character. Come on, the Zemo dance, that was a lot of fun. I think Zemo definitely won a lot more people over like he did with me. And Daniel Bruhl is fantastic as that character. Hopefully we will see him return, and they do have him still alive out there, so it is still a possibility. Finally, number 2. Who is my number 2 villain? Loki, the god of mischief, played by Tom Hiddleston. what a wonderful actor to get in this role, and what a great journey this character has been. And it's not over yet, because he is the first and only villain right now to get his own spin-off series on Disney Plus. So it's going to be fun to see this character and where he's going to go now, especially now that we backtracked a little bit. This is not the same Loki that we knew that had all that development leading up to Endgame. This is a Loki from a different timeline who might even be a little bit different personality-wise, because his headspace is in a different time of his life. So in 2012, he was still evil. He still wanted revenge. He didn't get that moment with his mother yet. So it will be interesting to see where they play with this new Loki. But Loki, at the end of the day, is still Loki, and it's still played by Tom Hiddleston, who has given us some great moments with this character. I could have done easily, maybe I still will, a top 10 Loki moments from all the movies that we've seen him in. But yes, Loki, definitely one of the best villains still to this day. And the one that brought the Avengers together. So there you go. Finally, my number one. If you haven't guessed it already, if it wasn't going to be Loki, who else could it be? Thanos, that's right. Thanos, the one who eliminated half the universe with one snap. Wow. You know what? Thanos was a build-up since 2012's Avengers, the first Avengers movie. And a lot of people were wondering, is he going to live up to the hype? And I think we're all happy to say that, yes, Avengers Infinity War and Endgame lived up to the hype of what Thanos was building up to. And to see him cause all that chaos was amazing, especially see him going after every Avenger. So, I got a little distracted there. But yes, Thanos is my number one. And Josh Brolin killed it. He's great as Cable in the X-Men movies or Deadpool movies. He was only in one Deadpool movie, but he was also great as Thanos. Thanos, such a terrific villain, seeing how smart and calculated he is. And then also a really good fighter. And usually you have either the brains or the brawn, and Thanos is both, and that's what made Thanos such a great villain. So with that being said, guys, tell me, who are your top 10 favorite MCU villains? Are there any on this list that made your list, or are there other villains that should have been on this list that you have on yours? Let me know. I know Vulture, played by Michael Keaton, is another great villain that a lot of people like to talk about. Maybe Crossbones, but I felt Crossbones really still didn't have enough to really put him in my top 10. Look, I even like villains like Malekith from Thor: The Dark World. I know some people say that's one of the worst MCU villains. I think Malekith is okay. I like most of the I like a lot of the MCU villains, even some of the ones that people are not too fond of. What was Corey Stoll's character in the first Ant-Man movie? Not the Wasp. He was Yellow Jacket. I liked his character too. He was a fun guy, you know. Maybe the Ghost in Ant-Man and the Wasp. Maybe that's my least favorite villain, because I didn't understand what her motive was. I'm trying to remember. She wanted revenge on something that her father died? I don't know. But anyways, yeah, that's my list right here. Comment below. Also, I want to, before I end this video, I need to thank my Patreon supporters. All the time I have to thank my Patreon supporters. I only have 2 right now. But if you want, you can help this channel by subscribing to my Patreon page, which is patreon.com/DavidJordeo, where you can, there's 2 membership fees. There's a $5 membership and there's a $10 membership. And it's really just to support the channel and try to help me, because I do want to grow this channel as much as I can and focus on it as much as I can, but I can't do that if I don't have the support. And, you know, YouTube takes away a little bit of money from the monetization. They take like a certain percentage away. So that keeps me from struggling a little bit. So, but Patreon allows me to take all of it. So the more help, the better. And you know, the people that are already supporting me, I gotta thank them for that, because it's their generosity that's hopefully will get the ball rolling to help me on my way. So I have 2 Patreons right now. Thank you very much. You know who you are. I just showed your names, and hopefully we can get some more as time goes on. Only if you can. Don't feel pressured that you have to. You do not have to. You guys don't owe me anything. This is just for people who can offer anything. That's why I only put a $5 and a $10. The $10 is really more for generosity. If you can add a little bit more, the more appreciated. But really, I'm expecting people to only do the $5 donation, because $5 a month donation, because I mean, all I'm offering is giving you a thank you credit at the end, or maybe the beginning of each video. I'm still deciding what I want, if I want to put it at the beginning or at the end. Right now I have it at the end. So with that being said, guys, that's all for today. Until next time, I'm so excited for Loki. I'm going to review it this Wednesday, because I don't get early reviews like some people. So unfortunately, my review is going to have to wait. But until then, until next time, take care.